High drama here in Singapore.
London and Paris battle it out to host the 2012 Olympic Games. Hello, welcome back to Singapore and an Olympic showdown between London and Paris.
Yes, in the next few minutes we will know which of those two cities has been chosen to host the 2012 Games.
Of course, when this morning started, there were 5 cities competing. 3 have since been knocked out. Now it's down to a straight fight between London and Paris. There is, of course, huge tension inside the building where the two teams are hidden away. The BBC's Olympics commentator Barry Davies will be there to guide us through the announcement ceremony, which is just about to begin.
And we will, of course, get reaction from both competing cities. We'll be live in London, Trafalgar Square, where many of Britain's top sports stars and a big crowd of supporters are gathering.
And we'll be also at the City Hall in Paris, where huge crowds are there, and they're convinced that the French capital will at last succeed in its bid to host the 2012 Olympic Games.
Yes, but first let's go to London, to Trafalgar Square. As I said, a huge crowd has gathered there, but a tense wait, I'm sure. Sian Williams is there. What's the atmosphere like, Sian?
Loud, nervous, I don't know, it's incredible here, so I have to say. On stage you can see they're having a party. They say the party will continue. The party will continue whether London wins or loses. They're here to see Mel C, they're here to see Rachel Stevens, they're here to see Heather Small singing the London anthem Proud, and of course to watch the announcement on the big screens. And when we saw the announcement before, well, I tell you what, the nerves here were really, really frazzled, but as soon as Madrid went out, all the flags went up. So let's cross our fingers. How long have we got? Just over a quarter of an hour. See you later.
You said it, Sian, just over a quarter of an hour. Well, let's test the temperature now in Paris. Of course, they're also still in it. John Sopel is there. And, John, how are they feeling?
Tense, nervous, anxious. Tens of thousands of people have poured into the square in front of the Paris City Hall, and they're broadcasting French TV behind me. And as each country was eliminated, a huge cheer went up. And just before you came over to me to do this live, there were sudden catcalls and boos everywhere across the square. Why? They were showing Trafalgar Square in London. There's a lot of French pride here on show today. They very much want to win. They've been favourites throughout. And I just have this little vision of sort of Kelly Holmes coming down the home straight and the French suddenly looking over their shoulder and finding that London are a lot closer than perhaps the French thought they would be. And that's the way it is now. Everyone is very nervous. They're very anxious. It's unknowable how the Olympic Committee are going to have made up their minds. The French believed all the way through that they had the better bid because they had already so many of the stadiums in place, and they've played heavily on the beauty of Paris as a city. But will it be enough? Well, as Sian was saying, we're going to know fairly shortly.
We are in about 15 minutes' time. John, thanks very much indeed.
Yes, nervous, anxious in both the capital cities, but also here in Singapore. Let's go into the Raffles complex now and talk to Adam Parsons. Now, Adam, when Sir Matthew Pinsent left here, he was in a buoyant mood. What's the mood like in the complex?
Well, there's an awful lot of noise here. What you can hear are random cheers, lots of it coming from the French team. I think they are trying to give themselves a real sense of optimism ahead of the announcement, but they know it is very, very close. They know London has been coming up on the rails, catching them all the time. They still think they're the favourites. In about a quarter of an hour time, we'll find out if they're right.
Well, we're told that the ceremony is about to start. The announcement of the winner of this contest between London and Paris. It was down to the last two. I think we can go now to the Raffles ballroom and Barry Davies.
Yes, as you can see, the programme is about to start, and to say there is a keen sense of anticipation here is perhaps the understatement of the year so far. We are listening to the Olympic anthem as we see the 5 candidate cities and their logos portrayed. Paris at the top, London bottom left. We wait to see which of those 2 will be successful. And we have 2 presenters for this program. Nicholas Fang, a 29-year-old top fencer in this country, and Vivian Tan, who's an actress and the presenter of a number of programs, including a travel program.
Good early morning, New York. Good afternoon, Paris, Moscow, London, and Madrid.
Before we carry on tonight, Vivian, I'd just like to say you look exceptionally stunning in that dress.
Oh, you're too kind. This is a special creation by one of Singapore's local designers with gold-dipped orchids.
I know, lovely.
And of course, you are looking very suave and debonair as
not
usual.
in case you might have thought it in some sort of world
the 5 cities that have come
song
all the way to
contest.
Singapore,
This is about the
to be chosen by the
decision
International
on
Olympic
the
Committee
Olympic
to host
bid.
the games of the 30th Olympiad, the Olympic Games of 2012.
There are 116 IOC members in total. They are volunteers from all corners of the world, and a third of who have themselves been Olympic medalists. After listening all day to the presentations of the 5 cities and the final report of the IOC Commission of men and women who have studied and given an evaluation of the merits of the different bids, the members of the IOC have cast their votes a short while ago. The result is not yet known, and it will be delivered here live by the President of the International Olympic Committee.
Le Comité International Olympique est composé de 116
And that
membres.
president is currently in the central position of the front row on the stage, and with him all the members of the International Olympic Committee who have made their votes. The decision is known to the president, but there will be a delay before he announces it. This is known as the announcement program, all adding to the drama of the occasion.
Before we give you a taste of the presentations of the 5 cities given to the IOC members earlier, we would now like to offer you images from the country that is hosting the IOC session. Beautiful Singapore.
So first, we look at the host nation for this commission. The Prime Minister there shaking hands with the IOC President.
Dipping out of the ceremony there, the announcement of the winner won't occur for about 10 or 15 minutes or so if they run a little bit late. Let's just get the flavour of the mood in Stratford in East London, where, of course, the Olympic facilities will be built. Well, many of them will be built there. Emily Maitlis is there, and Emily, they've been tense in Trafalgar Square. They're very tense when we went to Paris. Presumably it's the same feeling there.
Absolutely, as you can hear, these crowds are already practicing their cheers right now. When Paris came up a few moments ago, big boos, but the crowd is just delighted to have got this far. And in a sense, this is the most emotional part of Britain today, because the people here will have their very lives touched more than anyone else in Britain. This would mean a massive change, a complete transformation to Stratford. And whilst the headlines originally were about, the sort of sexy headlines were about archery at Lord's, or beach volleyball in Horse Guards Parade, here is where the real story is. Stratford has been put on the map by this very Olympic bid, and it's become overnight, if you like, known as the Beckham's Manor. So it's an extraordinary feeling here, as you can hear behind me. And the word they keep using is legacy. They want this to be something that really exists and stays. They don't want some kind of flat pack games. They want something that will really inspire people, people who live here, people who can come to compete here, and a whole generation of young people, hopefully Olympic heroes. Back to you in the studio, if you can hear me. We just hear you, Emily, but also I was lucky enough to go to Stratford in the build-up to the bid, and you just get a feeling for what it would mean to the people there and the kids particularly in that area. Absolutely, yes.
What was very interesting this morning, Sue, was to see how many young people were represented here on the stage all morning. We've had singing, we've had the choirs, we've had a few urban acts just for the really hardcore at the crack of dawn this morning, which kept us all on our toes. And this is the word that Tony Blair keeps on using, that David Beckham keeps on using. It's about regeneration and inspiration of a whole new crowd of Olympians, of people who will feel those positive benefits. And you can see this tangible excitement here, a real emotion of knowing that their lives will be transformed by this bid if it's a winning bid.
And that's it, if it's a winning bid. We're so close now. But, I mean, so you say you went round, you've had a look round Stratford where the facilities will be. I mean, do you get that sense that this is an argument that the IOC will have bought? I mean, it's got London through into the last round, but will they have gone the whole log and say, this is what we want for the Olympic movement?
I think that's exactly, and that's the way that Lord Coe pitched it at the presentation earlier, the fact that it's the youth of today that we've got to look forward, you know, as far as the Olympics go, and that's exactly what the London bid has done, I think, more than Paris. We'll see.
10 minutes away. Let's get back to that ballroom in the Raffles complex. And they're showing a video at the moment. This is one of the Paris bid.
Yes, Dermot, an edited version of the presentation made earlier by Paris, who were the first to go. It seems a long time ago now. They were first off at 9 o'clock this morning. Shot of the Arc de Triomphe there, but is it to be a triumph for them or for London and the Eiffel Tower? The candidate cities and their teams are all represented in the hall, the president and Juan Antonio Samaranch side by side.
Well, it's only 7:36 in the morning in New York, but hey, New York is a city that never sleeps. So let's watch the presentation of New York with the early birds.
New York, who, it has to be said, made a good presentation, including some maybe a little strident words from Hillary Rodham Clinton, and including both the current president and his predecessor, Bill Clinton and George Bush. The latter a little more brief than the former. And this is what they hoped would influence the IOC members, but they went out in round 2. Let the dreams begin. Not to be for New York City. Not this time around, anyway. Sebastian Coe, Tanny Gray there in the foreground, and London team
We go to the historic Russian
applauding enthusiastically.
8-year-old Moscow, which hosted the games in 1980.
So now Moscow, who were not complimented by the evaluation committee. They felt they hadn't really got their bid all together. In fact, we're now going round to the cities who originally applied but were not forwarded on to be candidate cities.
Nice to sit through those videos one more time.
I know, just a reminder of the last 5, but it's so, I mean, it's been so tense here, and we got that feeling from Matthew Pinsent, didn't we? But I'm sure the team of the London bid are very nervous awaiting the vote. I believe Hazel has someone with her. Hazel Irving.
Well, Sue, I'm actually just soaking up the atmosphere in the hall here, because just out of your shot we have thousands of people on the bottom of this shopping centre. It's quite a sort of surreal experience, actually, because they're all watching the big screen to see who is going to win the candidate, who's going to win the 30th Olympiad. But of course there's lots of shoppers going about their business as well. But you can really sense the atmosphere now. Just a few more minutes to wait, and then I'm sure we'll see a lot of happy and perhaps unhappy faces emerging from that hall. But whose will they be?
Well, Hazel, have you been able to gauge the mood in the two different camps at all?
Well, to be honest, it's very difficult to say. There are a lot of chanting, as Adam mentioned earlier on, because a lot of French supporters here, but then there became a chanting war between London and Paris. So there was a fair bit of toing and froing at that point. But a lot of people very tense around me. But I think the atmosphere, as you can sense, is now beginning to build. There's a real sense of excitement. And whoever does win this one will have a lot to celebrate. Just at this point, I can hear the music for the London bid playing, so perhaps we should all feel a little bit inspired and stirred by that.
Hazel, thanks for shouting.
I wonder if the videos have continued in there. Should we go?
Well, let's go back to the hall, because I was enjoying that Moscow. Oh, no, we got the London one. That's worth a look. Here's Barry.
Certainly worth a look. Very different presentation, but inspiring and almost to perfection. The involvement of athletes and the wonderful video that includes so many familiar faces, both from the world of sport and from the world of music and the theatre. What have you done today to make yourself feel proud? Well, I can only tell you that the presentation by Sebastian Coe's team made everyone feel proud, and not only the British. Kip Keino, that wonderful runner from Kenya, was really quite tearful about the quality of the bid and its efforts to inspire youth, which is what it was all about. And this is the most wonderful ending of that video, which, if you've been to Trafalgar Square, has been available to be seen. This particular part of the presentation used again, and it was, believe me, absolutely brilliant. Well,
Finally, asking for the honour.
Well, not long to go, and it's interesting that James Pearce, who was over there, told us that Keith Mills, the chief exec, was actually going to go into the room, and one of the guys on the top table, the IOC members, was going to wear the handkerchief in the left pocket if London had won. So he's probably the only person in the room, other than the person who's going to open the envelope.
Keeping an eye out for those handkerchiefs. Well, Barry was talking about the magnificent London presentation. It's a magnificent crowd building in Trafalgar Square. Sean Williams is with them. Tell us how they're feeling, Sean.
Oh, it's just the nerves here, you can imagine. There's a big stage show, they're entertaining thousands of people here, but then, in a minute or so, they're all going to be watching the big screens to see what the announcement is. Is it going to be Paris? Is it going to be London? And the sporting ambassadors here, bated breath, I tell you, one of them has joined me, and that's Sharon Davis, who's an Olympic medal winner herself. How are you feeling, Sharon?
Oh, I'm so nervous, it's untrue. We just heard Kelly and Steve say it's like the beginning of a race, you know, we've all put such a lot of work into this. We all know London can do a fantastic Olympic Games, and the people want it, so I just hope with every finger that it will come here.
All your fingers, all your toes, back to you in the studio to find out what the result is.
Yeah, Sean, thanks very much indeed. Well, as Sean was saying there, the moment of truth is nearly upon us.
Let's go back in, shall we, and join Barry one more time for the result.
well, we know it won't be Madrid. We've just been looking at their video, which ended with greetings from Placido Domingo.
Sekarang tiba masanya.
Et maintenant, le moment est venu.
And now the time has come. May I invite the President of the International Olympic Committee, Jacques Rogge, to take his place at the center of the stage.
But he won't just make the announcement. A sealed envelope will be brought to him by a 14-year-old sailor, Griselda Kung, of course from Singapore.
The Olympic anthem.
The Olympic anthem. There is the London bid team. course, the Olympic anthem usually played and sung as the Olympic flag is raised over the main stadium of the host country. Over whose stadium is it to be raised in 2012? And here is young Griselda Kung. She's 14 years old now. She's already won many races and prizes. And of course, she'll be 21 at the time of the games of the 30th Olympiad. But first of all, the President will make a speech of thanks.
I would like to thank our wonderful host and the people of Singapore who have worked so hard to make our meeting possible.
French, looking as nervous as the British must feel, but not showing.
The 9 cities that began this election process some 2 years ago, out of which 5 finalists made it to be with us here today. All of you could organize and host excellent Olympic Games. You have given us inspirational presentations. But only one of you can be elected as the host city. I thank all of you for showing great competitive spirit in this long race.
Now, the moment of truth. As the best presentation, which London certainly was, won the day.
The International Olympic Committee has the honor of announcing that the Games of the 30th Olympiad in 2012 are awarded to the city of London.
We've done it! London have won it! They've disproved the theory that you cannot win on the day, you can only lose on the day. They've won with the most inspirational presentation surely ever seen on such an occasion. Wonderful. Well done, Sebastian Coe and his team. Ken Livingstone there, the Mayor of London. Keith Mills, the Chief Executive. They're all going mad here, and I'm sure Dick Palmer, who's been with the Olympic Games since he was almost since he was born. I get the sentence the wrong way around, but my goodness me, London have got it the right way around. The Games are coming to London for the first time since 1948. Absolutely brilliant.
Yes, 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 yes. Ready? Oh, the scenes here are just incredible. There are people in floods of tears, thousands of people who've been here all morning waiting for that announcement, watching the screens with bated breath, and look at them now. Look at them now. When they saw the announcement, you couldn't hear a pin drop until he said London, and when they heard that, they went absolutely wild. It means so much to the people here, not just in London, but around the UK. And of course we know about the amount of money that's going into the East End, but at the moment what these people are focusing on is just, we've got the Olympics coming here in 2012. We hope to be speaking to Dame Kelly Holmes very shortly about that, but now back to you.
Well, just look at the scenes here. Craig Reedy, the chairman of the British Olympic Association, who spoke quite brilliantly in French at the presentation. That was one of the surprises. Everybody who's contributed so much, not least the Prime Minister, who was a real star here and who will now have the happy experience of greeting Jacques Chirac when he arrives at the G8 conference. And it will be quite difficult for him not to have too big a smile on his face, I think. It's just a question of the team hugging each other. They did absolutely brilliantly. Sebastian Coe, from his experience as the only man ever to win the 1500 meters at consecutive Olympic Games, got it right at the right moment. And the involvement of so many athletes, there's Denise Lewis on the left, the involvement of so many athletes in the bid, being able to say David Beckham, who's played his part, Sir Steve Redgrave, they had a lot to say, and they, for heaven's sake, know from their experience what it is like to get it right on the day that matters. And by heaven, they've got it absolutely right. And 2012, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. The first game since 1948. Of course, there's the contrast on the other side of the hall, the French looking very dispirited. They've lost for the third time, but I believe this was an award which was won on the day, and it was deservedly won because of such an original presentation that involved the athletes, that involved youth for the future. And the future is that the Olympic Games is coming back to London.
You said it, Barry. Do you think he's a bit excited?
Oh, I am. They've got the formula just right. And you know, this is one of the biggest days in British sporting history. I mean, it is London, of course, but it will benefit the whole of the country. And I'm so glad everyone's got behind it. And seeing those scenes there in Raffles Complex was absolutely amazing.
It's those seasoned athletes, those sportsmen and women that joined in the bid, who've been through the most nail-biting competitions, won Olympic golds, international golds, World Cups, things. And there they were. It was like they'd won something bigger than they'd ever won before.
So Matt Pinsent, when he left here, was almost in tears because he felt that once Madrid had gone out, that they would inherit a lot of those votes. And he was, I mean, obviously fingers crossed, but really felt that this was going to happen. So.
It did run completely to plan, didn't it? Because Matt Pinsent pointed out to us that the order in which they'd go out, and indeed that Madrid, we're going to find out very soon how the voting patterns were, but if Madrid went out in that the penultimate round, that their votes would go to London. We don't know what tipped it in the end, but we'd soon find out.
Well, I'll tell you, there's going to be some very excited people in the complex, but also in Trafalgar Square as well. Let's go there now live and join Mary Rhodes.
Thanks very much indeed. Yes, a few people with tears in their eyes, and not least Dame Kelly Holmes. Kelly, your immediate reaction to this fantastic news?
Oh, it's just absolutely incrediul, you know, because I know how passionate it is to be involved in Olympic Games. So, like, really emotional now, I can't believe it. Just, like, so nerve-wracking, but you know, the fact that the whole country is sort of behind it is just, like, a real big thing.
And what was the thought that went through your head when that name was read out? The Olympic Games will be held by London.
It was just the worst moment actually to hear it, and when I don't know what I did actually. I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow, but I was just absolutely amazing. I mean, really the feeling of it, because the Olympic spirit is so passionate, you know, and I think the country is just going to do wonders for everybody, and especially like the youth of today. I think it's just going to change our country around so much.
Okay, Kelly, thanks very much indeed. Enjoy the celebration.
Thanks.
The result was announced. Here's Kelly Holmes in back coming over to join.
Wow.
OK, Mary, thank you very much. Let's just reiterate, for anyone who hasn't guessed already, London have won the bid to host the 2012 Olympic Games. What a day.
It is going to be an amazing 7 years for London, but disappointment, and we've been looking at some of the scenes here for Paris, because they were the long-time favourites, expected to win this one. Let's get the reaction now from Paris with John Sopel.
Sue, the air has been let out of the balloon. The groan that went around the City Hall when it was announced that London had won, and the crowds are just drifting off. And you hate to be sort of prophetic about these things, but about 1 minute before the result was declared, the rain started to fall. It's been bright here all morning, and you thought, is that auguring something? It can't be. But certainly the French cockerel is not crowing. The band has gone onto the bandstand behind me, and they were ready to play in celebration. Well, there's not going to be much of a celebration, and I think that sick as a parrot, gutted, whatever sporting metaphor you want to use to describe the French mood here today, you can apply, because really they genuinely thought they were going to win. They had been favourites throughout. They thought they had it in the bag. They didn't. Now back to you in Singapore.
Thank you, John. Yes, and it's interesting that favourites haven't won it in the past, but you wonder that they had such a low-key campaign going into that, and obviously backfired on them.
Yes, and it was their third attempt. They thought that this time was going to be their time, so no wonder they feel deflated. But of course it means just across La Manche, across the Channel, Trafalgar Square, they're jubilant, and Sian will give us more of the flavour. Hi, Sian.
Oh, I tell you what, the air might have been let out of John Sopel's balloon, but look at this. The atmosphere here is absolutely electric. Heather Small on stage singing the 2012 anthem, Proud, and there were tears. There were people were hugging one another, and thousands of people here. They're expecting 11,000 people to join the party, and what a party it's turning into be. One of those people who was in floods of tears when it was announced is Sharon Davis, who's a sporting ambassador and of course an Olympic medalist herself, and you were really nervous, and then when it came...
Well, all the athletes were, believe me. I mean, it was like running our own race, and we so much wanted to bring the Olympics here because we know how sport can unite everybody, and just look at this. I mean, well, it's already beginning to unite us, and by the time we get to 2012, the whole country will be like this.
It's interesting you say it's already beginning to unite us, because of course if you look back to just, well, December, then there was only 70% of the country that actually wanted the Olympics. Do you think that'll change now? Everybody will be behind it?
I think it's changed already. I think it changed in the last 3 months, and I think if you did a poll tomorrow morning, it would be 100%.
And what will it mean? What will it mean to athletes like yourself and to young children as well who've got sporting ambitions?
It means the world to athletes and also to young people to have something to aim for. The legacy of facilities will be tremendous. The feel-good factor it will leave the country, and the amount of tourism and work that it will bring into England as a whole as well. Just the economy will boom.
2012, we've got a long time before it actually happens, but there's an awful lot of work to be done, a lot of venues to be built. Will you be getting involved in this?
There is, but 64% of those venues are already built. 3 of them would have been built regardless of which one of them was the aquatic centre. So, I probably wouldn't have lost out, but lots of other people would have done. No, nobody is going to lose out. Everybody will be able to be part of it. And a lot of that progress is going to happen over the next few years. I don't think we'll be leaving it to the last minute. They will be built well and truly in time.
Your stomach was in knots, you were crying, Sharon. Feeling a bit better now?
So nervous, I'm so happy now.
Well, the party will continue here. We've got Rachel Stevens, Mel C, we've got school children who are going to be on stage as well. Hope you can come back to us later.
We will, Sian. Thank you very much indeed. And I can tell you it's just about 8 o'clock in the evening here, and quite a party kicking off, I imagine, amongst the British team there, led by Seb Coe. They really are pleased. Put in an awful lot of hard work.
Yeah, Seb's done extremely well, but so have all the ambassadors. They've been working so hard here for the past few days, and we can go back into the Raffles complex now and join Hazel, who I believe is with Colin Jackson.
I am, Sue, and in fact, I've just dragged him off the ceiling. First of all, Colin, describe the moment when Dr. Ogg read out the name London.
Oh, it was just incredible. We all just froze fractionally, and then the huge uproar. I mean, it was one of the best feelings I've ever had. I mean, we were so weepy. Everybody was just emotion, emotion, emotion. A lot of relief, a lot of great pleasure. And for us to see the faces of the children we brought over with us, they were just delighted. And I said to them, guys, it's your games. It's for you.
What was the X factor? What swung it for London, do you think?
Well, I talked to many of the members since, and they've said basically the last bit of the presentation, the last couple of weeks, we've been so assertive, so positive towards what we can provide for 2012, and that's literally what won it for us.
And just in terms of what's happening now, I think we're just about to get Lord Coe. Here he comes.
Yep.
We're just assessing what's going to be happening now in the next 7 years. First of all, congratulations.
What are you doing?
First of all, Lord Coe, our heartfelt congratulations to you. What a wonderful effort. Just describe what this means to you, the bid team, and indeed the country.
It's just the fact that it is just the most fantastic opportunity to do everything that we've always ever dreamed of in British sport. We now have the chance over the next 7 years and way beyond that to just change the face of sport and just get what I've always wanted, more young people into sport. Now we're just going to have to do it.
In a nutshell, how did you pull this off?
Ask the whole team. This was the most splendid team performance from 2 years ago when the team came together. These guys were out on Tuesday mornings in wet Bristol, and it was fantastic, and everybody has pulled together, and we just never lost our confidence and our ability, and we just recognised that we could do it in a very special way, and we will.
Lord Mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, is with us. First of all, let me gauge your reaction. How special a moment is this for you in the
this
city?
is amazing, because when we started out, we thought it was a mountain to climb, that we would never actually win, but we gave everything. And this incredible last few days here, and the emotion, I mean, just these poor delegates, everyone has been twisting their arms, sports people, presidents, prime ministers. But I think what came over was, in our presentation, the Olympics is about giving kids the chance. It's not just about cities or governments, it's about the kids.
The IOC have put an enormous amount of faith in you. This is a grand vision that you now have to deliver. Can we do it?
Well, this is the thing that is why we started fairly late with our bid. We spent a lot of time, 2 years before we formally submitted the bid, working out the finances, getting the plan. We will start the work tomorrow. I mean, we have all the powers in place. We're already building many of the facilities, and we are going to give the world the best games it's ever seen.
What, for you, was the most special part of winning the bid when you looked around and this was now beginning to sink in?
No, I tell you, when I came into the room, what we saw, there were 4 or 5 photographers from the British papers sitting in front of me and Tessa, and over in front of Paris there were about 50 journalists, 4 television crews. Thought they must have won, they've been tipped off, and so we were assuming we're about to lose.
Mayor Livingston, thank you very much. If I can just ask you to move over a little bit. Tessa Jowell, the Olympic Minister, wow, you really are now. Just describe what this means, you think, for sport and indeed for youth in our country now.
Well, I'll tell you, just when we were waiting for the final result, you know, there are 30 kids here with us from Langdon School in East London. They represent 20 different nationalities. And we were talking about all this, and they said, what a fantastic time they had. And I said, so how many of you are going to go for gold medals? They all put up their hands. There are 2 who are going to go for the gold medal in the 100 metres, 1,500 metres, long jump. That's what this is for. You know, this is to unlock their ambition and make it worth their dreaming.
How important is sport now going to be as an integral part of government policy from here on?
Completely central to government policy. This is the biggest prize we have won that sport can bestow. We've won it for London, and I cannot tell you how proud we are and how much I want to thank everybody at home who kept faith with this and gave us their support, because in the end of the day, that's what made the difference.
And on a purely personal level, tears as the emotion of this actually beginning to sink in now?
I have been shaking for the past 2 hours.
Well, I'll let you shake a little bit over there. Thank you very much indeed. We have Sir Matthew Pinson. First of all, we're lining up. Sir Matt, 4 gold medals, but how does this achievement compare?
It can't really. I think sport and diplomacy, or sport and sports politics, are just different, but it was a magical feeling. It was a magical feeling. And we could jump up and down, whereas these 2 here had to pretend to be sober IOC members. But no, I mean, we went in saying this: we haven't won it. We're, you know, stay calm. There's still a lot to do. But you know, what could we do at that last stage? And I was sure when he opened the envelope it was going to say Paris. For some reason, I had this dread in my bones, something to do with the photographers in front of us. There weren't that much interest and all that. And then you got the first syllable of London out, and.
Well, I've actually got 2 very special people that you mentioned here. Craig Reedy, Chairman of the British Olympic Association, and Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. May I congratulate you both. What does this represent? You're an Olympian, clearly, you've been in competition, but this prize, how special is it?
Well, I think it's very special for London. As we've reminded them from time to time, London has run the Games twice, at very short notice, not having been prepared or even thought about a bid. And this is, I think, very good news for London, that it's been able to plan what it wants to do. And I think what they were impressed with was because we've sold it to them as good for the Olympic movement, because that's our history. It's been together.
And inspiring young people, dare I say that your daughter might be amongst those?
That's a long way ahead. I seem to remember the horses have a nasty habit of going lame for those.
Well, congratulations.
Yes, possibly, thank you.
We wish you well, of course. Craig, this is the culmination of all of your years in sport and indeed as a member of the Olympic Association. Can you sum up why you think it's happened?
Well, this is 3rd time lucky for me. You know, 2 losses with Manchester and now with London. It's a terrific feeling. Oh, I think it happened because, I mean, we were able to put together an incredibly good bid team. I mean, Seb and Keith, you know, get all the credit, but there's 100 very, very bright people as part of that team. And we came into this week knowing precisely what we wanted to do. We did precisely what we wanted to do. I thought we lobbied effectively. I thought we presented beautifully. And at the end of the day, I actually think the IOC has changed a little bit as well. I think that there is a much more open and fair spirit around, and I think we benefited from all of that.
I think you would have found with the bid team that there is nobody on that team who isn't articulate and thoroughly committed and has been able to speak wholly on behalf of the bid for London.
Well, we congratulate you both. We will allow you to go and sip some champagne, deservedly now. Thank you very much.
I can about somebody else, but I will certainly sell it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much to you, Craig. Thanks.
That's not double rations for you, by the way.
Celebrations will continue for quite some time, Dermot and Sue.
The OBE's in the post station.
Absolutely. But it's such a proud day, a great day for British sport. But as Lord Coe was saying there, it's the kids that are the real winners with this.
And in one particular area as well of London. Let's go now to East London, to Stratford, where the main stadium is going to be built, where the athletes' accommodation is going to be. Emily Maitlis has been there for us this morning. And Emily, how did they receive the news there?
Well, it's pretty sensational, in a word. I don't know about you, Dermot. My eyes were watering a few moments ago. I'd like to blame it on the confetti dust, but I think you might see through that. People here have been waving their flags, saying thank you all morning, and now that thank you just seems even more heartfelt than ever. When I asked a few people in the crowd here what this would mean to them if we did get a win earlier, one woman summed it up by looking me in the eye and just saying, everything, everything. Well, I'm joined by Manny Lewis from the London Development Agency. Perhaps, Manny, you can put this into context for us. How different will this place look in 8 years' time?
This is just a fantastic result for London, fantastic result for the UK. It will give us a chance to transform this part of London to make it one of the greatest places to live, work, visit and enjoy the facilities. The Olympics will be a great inspiration to our young people, and on top of that we can regenerate one of the poorest areas of the city. This place will be unbelievable for the next 7 years.
And certainly unbelievable for the next few hours to come. We're all just grinning like idiots here. I don't think we can wipe that smile off our face for a good while yet. Back to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Emily. Well, and as they were saying there, we've now talked the talk very successfully. We now have to walk the walk, build that stadium and make sure it all works.
Exactly. If Sebastian Coe thinks it's been difficult so far, he's got 7 years to get it right and to do that. But it's absolutely terrific. It's a wonderful day for him and for the whole team and for British sport.
And what a morning it's been. Let's just recap what happened. First of all, Moscow went out as we expected. Then it was New York. Then it got really tense in the voting, didn't it?
It was the decider.
Madrid were in there as well.
Yeah, Madrid was the decider.
Do you think that was it, that those Madrid votes in the end did go to London? There was talk of some kind of deal, wasn't there?
Well, they always talk about that, but whether it was or wasn't, they felt that they would gain a lot of the Madrid votes, but we've got it. It's absolutely
Anyway,
fantastic.
exactly. That's for later on. That's the news. London 2012. It's a reality. The Olympics coming to London. From us, goodbye.
Of London 2012.
The city of Moscow will not participate in the next round. New York will not participate in the next round. Madrid will not participate in the next round.
The 30th Olympiad in 2012 are awarded to the city of London.